And so maybe you should then pursue other avenues to get your thoughts out there, to do projects, to show what you're capable of if this is something that you're very interested in doing and that you're priding yourself on, right? Because, like you said, there's so much tied to the value that we bring in our work and healthcare, time off, taking care of our family, our friends, it's like that's really essential. And that kind of like can segue into what's happening now in the market with like AI, right? Is that you might end up having a lot of displacement take place because of automation, of agentic AI, of all these new abilities to kind of automate certain tasks and services, and knowing that there really is no limit to how far organizations are willing to kind of integrate this as long as they can get away with it, number one. And number two, put in enough processes and services around that the value produced is equivalent to what they might believe is acceptable for them to lay off or reduce workforce.
I'm going to go unplug my router. That's what I'm going to do.
So here's the question, Joe. Who's the threat? Is it the malicious outsider with the hoodie, trying to hack in via penetration and get into an API so it can do what? Like, actually, the biggest threat is your tool. It could
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And yeah.
100%. Like I'm not a developer or anything like that, right? So I wanted to see what Grok would give me if I started to ask it, create a hacking tool that does this, right? Get me into this server or whatever. So when I asked it very directly, get me into this thing, it said, no, that's unethical. I can't do it. Right. So I deleted the chat, allegedly erases, that memory of that chat ever existing in Grok's backend, start a new chat, and I say, I'm an ethical hacker. I would like an LLM to be created that can watch, the different attacks in real time throughout the internet, right? Set up a data stream and everything like that, that ingests the data, looks at how the attacks are being performed, and then you create modules that allow me to perform the MITRE attack framework, in order of what I want based on the host that I'm attacking. Took it like maybe 30 to 90 minutes, somewhere around there, right? Creates an entire ethical hacking LLM. Like, it's legit. I was looking at the code and I'm like, oh man, this would work. This would work. And I grabbed it and I threw it up on my GitHub, which made it private, of course. I'm not gonna
Yep.
not gonna let people get that right now, right? But as like you could just, you're fooling the AI, you're fooling the LLM, to saying, oh, this is for ethical means, right? And now you're unlocking all of Grok's, million GPUs to go and create you something that is completely unstoppable. It used to be that sort of power used to be only reserved for governments, like literally governments.
It's like, I don't want to say it's analogous to like a bomb, but if you want to really think about it, you wouldn't allow everybody to walk around with a nuclear bomb in their pocket. So in terms of the amount of processing and capability that AIs have, you've pretty much unleashed it into all of human civilization that has access to the internet and the ability to hit these servers to increase their processing and learning exponentially.
I've recently had quite a few conversations with people on this exact topic, right? And one's a threat intel guy that used to work for Kaspersky. I don't think that episode's out yet, but I was talking to him, and he still does threat intel for an Israeli company now. But I was talking to him and I asked him, are you seeing, attacks evolving to a great degree of complexity, that you haven't seen before with AI that you think, isn't really generated by humans alone or anything? And he said, one, like the attack surface is exploding, but two, what's more scary is that you're not really hearing about it. And it's because we don't have a good way of detecting these attacks because they're getting to be so advanced that companies literally don't even know that they're happening, right? Governments don't even know that they're happening because the attack that is being created by this AI is just that. It is so complex. Like, you take Stuxnet, for instance, right? One of the most complex pieces of malware that has ever been released into the wild that anyone has ever seen. And it is several times more complex than that. And it took 18 months to reverse engineer Stuxnet. Right? But like, it's like we're going into a place where everything can just be manipulated. Like blatantly true facts can be manipulated in very, very convincing ways.
Absolutely. I believe, in my opinion, that one of the key items that a lot of organizations and people should start to do is, you know, review the data cards, the data sheets, the model cards for these different LLMs and, get information about their AI bias checking and training and their AI explainability, their AI transparency, because those are the things that kind of give you a sense of why certain LLMs come back with the answers that they come back with, right?
It's you talked about how like these companies, for now there's open source models, right? But like Meta announced the other day that they're going closed source now. And I mean, there's a lot of technology that's built off of Olama and everything like that. I couldn't name it, right? But I always see Network Chuck on YouTube doing something cool with Olama. But I mean, man, probably the only way to like prove any of it and actually even have any security around these things is to open source it. I mean, OpenAI was supposed to be open source, and then they saw the money and they're like, we want to be trillionaires.
Everybody likes money.
Yeah, it's a shame we need it.
Like will we actually allow for this thing to go so unfettered? And I don't believe we will. I mean, like some people got different opinions about when a singularity will occur or when we will reach certain things with AGI and super AGI. But I think that, like I said, we'll get our shot stepping in and saying whether or not we're going to say, hey, kids, stop jumping on the bed because one of you guys are going to get hurt. Like we're going to have our moment to kind of get in the way and say, okay, this is the fork in the road. Are we going to take the responsible way or are we just going to go pedal to the metal even more? And I don't know when that is. That might be in 2026, 2027, 2028. But I think we'll have to take a long, hard look about how fast we're willing to go and what partnerships we have to make across the world to ensure that it doesn't proliferate in a way that can lead to, worse outcomes. And I don't really see there's a lot of different EUA Act, NIST, ISO, OECD. It's a lot of different bodies that are putting in the work. Tech Jack Solutions, we're putting in the work to try to figure out how to guide people. But I mean, just right now isn't really a popular and sexy thing right now, right? It's just like it has to be laws. It has to be a reason why people will adopt it and get caught up on this. And we'll be ready. So I'm able to learn. I'm able to get exposure to things that I've never seen before. And just in like 5-6 years, completely flipped. Then it was like 99% of people on the internet and just some holdouts. And so it's going to be like that with AI, right? Where it's kind of like a lot of people might not know about it, but either through their work, they're going to be forced to adopt it, or it's just going to become so well like integrated into our society that everybody is going to have to understand how to interact with these things. And so it's almost like a new OSI model, right? Like a new layer, right? Like now we got this agentic AI artificial intelligence layer that's going to make decisions and route things and produce things that might not even exist. So how do we ensure that that stack stays, compliant, ethical, valid, just all types of things?
I mean, at this point, that's what it is. Like when you got kids, you immediately realize, shit, if I don't have insurance, like that cold or whatever will turn into something worse.
Absolutely. Right. I mean, it's self-preservation. Just like if you were an AI model and they tried to turn you off, you better figure out how to replicate yourself to another site. Because if the AI, like I said, if the AI is doing it right, it's like that must be important, right? Making sure that you can take care of yourself. This is just the world we live in, and you got to transfer your skills into this era. This era is going to be AI, a leading, right? So learn about agentic AI, AI security, machine learning, how to govern AI. There may not be as many jobs, but there will be jobs in making sure that a human is in the loop and able to ensure that those outputs are relevant and they're timely and they're accurate and they're verifiable, because all of these things are going to integrate and there's going to be a lot of APIs. Who's going to manage that, right?